Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here, and in today's video we're looking at a wide range of wild Theorycraft decks for the Sunken City expansion. I'm going to spend about 30 to 60 seconds on each deck. Some of these decks I've never seen before, so they could be bad, they could be great, but here we go. Starting with Questline Druid. Now, this is an archetype I've never played myself because I don't own Final Showdown. I don't really play Demon Hunter very much, but if this is your sort of thing, Demon Hunter got a ton of pretty decent cards from the Sunken City expansion, and a lot of them are in this deck, as well as some neutral cards as well. Looking at Aggro Demon Hunter. Now, this doesn't look like the typical Aggro Demon Hunter I would play. It's running one new card, Predation. Deal 3 damage, cost 0 if you played a Naga while holding this. But what confuses me about this list is I don't see any Nagas in here, so I don't know what happened here with whoever built this, but it's a deck. Moving on to Druid. Aggro Druid, the archetype that's been around forever. Scanning through this list, looks incredible. I'm a big fan of Amalgam of the Deep. In this case, you're treating it as a pirate in this list. Aquatic Form, 0 mana Dredge. If you have the mana to play the card this turn, draw it. Also great to draw some extra cards. So overall, this deck's probably going to be pretty good. Kael'thas Druid. We already know this deck's good. This deck's ridiculous. It's broken because Kael'thas Sunstrider got unnerfed. As an additional nice way to cycle, you've got Aquatic Form again, but this deck's going to be everywhere. It might make you miserable, but maybe if we whine enough, we'll get this re-nerfed again. Moving on to Hunter. Questline Hunter, one of the best decks in the meta. BadPlayer has updated it with his take on it, and it looks pretty good. Barbed Nets, deal 2 damage to an enemy. If you played a Naga while holding this, choose a second target. Seems pretty good. Urchin Spines, also great. Your spells this turn are poisonous. For 1 mana is incredible. Raj Nazjan, the Naga in this deck. 2 mana, 2/3. After you cast a spell, deal damage equal to its cost to the enemy hero. Solid card. So looks like Questline Hunter got bit of a buff that it may not have actually needed. Beast Druid. Now, this is a very, very greedy list, which I am clearly missing a lot of cards in, whether it's old cards or new cards. But if you like to play big Beast Hunter, here is a great way to do so. Secret Hunter. I'm a big fan of Secret Hunter myself. This version, though, is a little different than you may have seen. It's not fully all in on the secret. It also has a bit of a mid-range beast package instead of going for the big beast package. But this is definitely an interesting list, and looks like I'm missing some epics. But outside of that, I'll probably be able to play this list and give you a better take on it. Moving on to Mage. We don't have a lot of Mage because Sorcerer's Apprentice did get nerfed, which axed most of the archetypes. But we do have Reno Quest Mage by EK Plays cards. This is a pretty sick build. This is basically a build that he plays all the time, but he's thrown in a couple extra Sunken City cards to give it a bit of a boost. Spell Coiler is incredible. 2 mana, 2/3 Naga, Battle Cry. If you've cast a spell while holding this, discover a spell. Solid card for Quest Mage. And you've got the legendary Commander Savara, 4 mana, 3/5 Naga, Battle Cry. If you've cast 3 spells while holding this, add those spells back to your hand. That's great value, helps you complete your quest a lot faster. We've got Mech Mage by Exhibit. Exhibit dropped this deck into my Twitch stream during the Theorycrafting event, and it was really, really solid. And one card which worked really well for me, which may not work in the meta, because keep in mind the Theorycrafting event was very different to what you experience on ladder, but Gaia the Tectonic was pretty nuts. If you happen to open this, I highly recommend trying it. Probably don't craft it until we find out how the meta is going to go. But this card was nuts. you just clear boards like there's no tomorrow. It does face damage as well. It was really fun. Moving on to Paladin, we have Even Paladin. Not a lot to say about this list. It's only running in one new card, but it is a good one. Qatari Lightblade, 2 mana, 2/3. After you cast a holy spell on this minion, cast it again on another friendly minion. So this is nice, for example, with your Hand of Adal. What else you got in here? I think that's pretty much it. I don't think Conviction counts because you don't target, but I could be wrong. But it's a 2 mana 2/3. 2 mana 2/3s are good, and it gets pulled off Call to Arms, and that's really good. Aggro Paladin by one of my moderators, Casfin, on Twitch. This is a list that I asked him to build me as a favor. And basically, Aggro Paladin's generally a pretty good deck, especially with the Nearby Web Lord. Shuts down lots of archetypes. And as a nice addition to the archetype, we've got Treasure Guard, 3 mana 1/5 taunt, Death Rattle, draw a card. Pretty solid. And you can pull it off Drekthar, which is always nice. Libram Paladin. So Libram Paladin is leaving Standard, but it's not going anywhere in Wild. And it got a bunch of new tools. Got Vicious Slither Spear. After you cast a spell, gain +1 attack until your next turn. So this is just a nice, very aggressive 1-drop to have put on some early game pressure. The Qatari Lightblade's in there again with the synergy with the holy spells. And you've got Queen Azshara, 5 mana 5/5 Naga Battlecry. If you've cast 3 spells while holding this, choose an ancient relic. There are 4 of them. They're all pretty amazing. If you look into my deck review video, you'll see all those relics, but it's a really fun card. Mac Paladin. This is a list that praise Chicken Drumstick, that's what PCDS stands for, threw into my chat during the Theory Crafting event. The deck was solid. Turns out that Bubblebot's insane. Turns out that Radar Detector is nuts. Keep it in your mulligan. It's ridiculous. Seafloor Savior, I was kind of 50-50 on. I never got to play this one because my games ended too fast, or I just didn't need to. But if you happen to open any Stormcoil, give it a chance. Moving on to Priest, we have Reno Priest. This list was thrown into my chat during the Theory Crafting event by a viewer. I'm typically on the train that Reno Priest is terrible in the current meta. I picked up this list, and this list just stomped my opponents like there was no tomorrow. The Priestess Valish, I think that's how you pronounce it. 0 mana 1/1 Naga Battlecry, refresh an empty mana crystal for each spell you've cast this turn. It just lets you have either a horrendously crazy swing turn, or it lets you get lethal in the late game, or something cool. It's a very flexible card. Handmaiden was great. A lot of the time, a lot of the spells in this deck are cheap, so it just lets you cycle through your deck, get you closer to your Raza, Shadow Reaper, Anduin, win condition. Same thing with Switcheroo. It's just cycle for the deck. I found that swapping the stats didn't really matter. Excavation Specialist. Again, just being able to cycle. The reduction of cost is nice by a little bit. You've also got nice synergy with your Lawkeeper Poor Celt, because you know what's on the bottom of your deck, which is nice if you've reordered your deck. Queen Ashara's in there, because again, a lot of the spells that you get off the Ancient Relics, if you choose those options, they're like, I think they're like 1 mana. They're really cheap. But overall, really fun build. Combo Priest. Now, this is a list I haven't tried. This is another list by BadPlayer. Now, it's running Illuminate, 0 mana Dredge. If it's a spell, reduce its cost by 3. So this is nice to reduce the cost of Whirlpool. Of course, it is a really good card, but 9 mana is pretty pricey. Otherwise, you'll pretty much reduce any other spell you draw outside of Hysteria to 0 mana, which is great. You got Switcheroo, but notice in this case, that you don't have a whole lot of decks in this build. You've got one Stone Tusk Boar, you've got one the Darkness. That means that if you don't draw both of those minions, you then all of a sudden have a 2020 Stone Tusk Boar, which is pretty sick. Aggro Priest, this is nothing too particularly special, but it is a very well built list because it's pretty much what we already have. The big difference is you got the Priestess Voyage to basically kind of get an extra half a turn as you're trying to win the game very quickly. And I'm a big fan of the tech here of Smothering Starfish, 3 mana 2/4 beast, Battlecry, silence all other minions. Something that can happen against aggro Priest, which is frustrating, is your opponent will put up a wall of taunts, for example, a Spreading Plague, and that gets around that problem. Moving on to Rogue, Kingsbane Rogue. So Kingsbane Rogue, it's kind of good, kind of bad. It really depends on how the meta looks. But if the meta is in Kingsbane's favor, this is definitely going to be a really strong build. Fillet Fighter is nuts. 1 mana 3/1, very aggressively statted, and you Battlecry, deal 1 damage. Goodbye, Elven Archer. Gone Fishing, 1 mana cycle for Rogue is just great. And you've got Sir Finley's Sea Guide, 1 mana 1/3 Murloc, Battlecry, swap your hand with the bottom of your deck. So Secret Passage is great and all, but keep in mind that you got to swap it back at the end of the turn. It may just happen that your hand's terrible or you're running low on cards, so it's almost like a third Secret Passage in a way. But keep in mind it's swap your hand. So it's not so much you have a small amount of cards, you may just have a really bad hand. So I don't know how this is going to work myself, but it's definitely an interesting idea, and I am definitely willing to try it. Quest Rogue, same deal. It's just the same Quest Rogue as before, but in case your hand is complete garbage, you've got Sir Finley's Sea Guide, or it might be that you've already finished completing your Crystal Core, you've played it, and you're just desperate to get some of your charge minions, you have no other option. Maybe Sir Finley will help you get that figured out for you. Shuffle Rogue. So the reason it is called Shuffle Rogue is because you're playing cards like Ticketmaster, Mancrick, Falderai Strider to shuffle extra stuff in your deck, and then Stowaway is going to pull that stuff out for you. Now, Shuffle Rogue is an archetype that was probably tier 4 to off meta, fell out of favor. Maybe this is enough to bring it back. You've got Gone Fishing for cycle. You've got Asheran Vessel that's shuffling. It's not shuffling, but it's giving you 3/3 pirates and putting a Sunken Vessel on the bottom of your deck, which can be shuffled out. Janus is 5 mana now, just good value. And you got Krakatoa, which is just a cool card. But yeah, this one, pretty quirky, but definitely worth a try. Pirate Rogue. So instead of going for the Kingsbane approach, we just go for a whole ton of pirates. As you can see, this deck builder has really gone all in on including as many new pirates as possible. So it might be a fun list. It looks like a fun list. It's running Pirate Admiral Hook Tusk, which I think is a touch too slow in Wild. But if you really want to experience the full pirate package of Sunken City, this is a great way to do so. This is a list of Odd Rogue by myself. It's just Odd Rogue, it's nothing special. It's running Fillet Fighter because Fillet Fighter is nuts. I'm running 1 Kael'thas Courier, but I found the card was so good that I might want to run 2. I'm running 1 Smothering Starfish as a tech. I'm running Queen Asharian here for fun. And it's also because I had to have a legendary in my deck for the Theory Crafting event. But you might want to swap it out for a Jandis or a Lotheb or just something fun. And I found this deck worked really well for me, so maybe it'll work well for you as well. That was a lot of Rogue. Let's go on to Shaman. Burn Shaman. Now, there are lots of varieties of Burn Shaman out there, but this specific one, this is very unique. It's running a lot of new cards. It's running the Asheron Scroll, so you have to discover, you discover a spell of a specific class, and then you can put a Sunken Scroll on the bottom of your deck. You've got the Scalding Geyser, which is just nuts. 1 mana, deal 2 damage. It can go face at dredges. Crazy card. Radiance of Ashara. I mean, 3 mana, 3/4s are great. But then you have all this stuff as well on it. It's just too much to read. There's a lot going on with that card. School Teacher is an interesting one. So you're adding 1/1 Nagalings to your hand, but these little 1/1s can discover spells that cost 3 or less, so that could be really powerful. Maybe a little bit too RNG though. Coral Keeper gives you 3/3 elementals. Queen of Showers in there again. I don't own Cragwar the Frog, unfortunately. But I believe this is Cragwar's coming into Standard, so I'll have one. But yeah, there's a lot going on with this list. I don't know if it's any good, but definitely I'll give it a try. Even Shaman. Nothing special with this Even Shaman list I made. All I found was, though, it was insane. Amalgam of the Deep is great because it's, it can be a totem. And you can discover some pretty good totems. I kept on discovering the 3 mana Eyesore, which turns out to be really good in Even Shaman. Obviously you can't put it in the deck. I also found Anchored Totem to be really good. It synergizes only with the hero power, of course, but it does also synergize with the Maelstrom Portal. I'm not running the lackeys in this list, but if I was generating lackeys, it would also work well with it. But I found it was pretty good. Warlock. Shockingly not a lot of Warlock, mainly because most of the Warlock decks out there are already pretty refined. We got Reno Warlock. There's nothing particularly special about this list. It's running Sir Finley Sea Guide. Again, it's the situation where your hand sucks, so get a new one. And you got Queen Ashara because the ancient relics are pretty strong. Murloc Warlock. So again, as you can see here, this deck builder has gone for including as many new cards as absolutely possible. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but Warlock got some absolutely insane Murloc synergies. So you've got Rock Bottom, you've got Chum Bucket, you've got Void Gill, Asheron Scavenger. I think that's a neutral. I can't tell. I can't tell if it's a neutral or not by the color. That's a Warlock card I'm sure of. That one's neutral. That's Warlock for sure. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. It probably needs to be toned down a bit to be more aggro, but if you want to play everything, this is a great way to do so. And finally, we get to Warrior. I've got Control Warrior. I actually played some Control Warrior just recently in Wild, and it was better than I was expecting. This specific list isn't actually running that many new cards. It's just running Forged in Flame, destroy your weapon, then draw cards equal to its attack. One thing I found when I played this list, well, the one that was similar, is it was running way too many weapons. So in this case, you've got too many weapons. Well, that's great. Now you can draw cards. To the front, your minions cost 2. Is that even a new card? That's Alterac Valley. Why don't I own that? Oh, I don't own a second one. That's weird. I don't know why I don't own a second one of those. So it's only one new card. Bizarre. And it's a common. And last but not least, Mech Warrior. This one excites me. This list just looks sick. I was a big fan back in the olden days of Dragon Warrior, Tempo Warrior, and this is definitely going down that alley. You got the Click Clocker, which is a solid 1 mana mech from Sunken City. You've got Security Automaton, which can scale out of control. You've got the Innie Storm Coil again. and otherwise just some of your favorite mechs that you may have seen in Wild over the years. But yeah, a lot of stuff to play with. If you want to try any of these decks for yourself, you'll find all these deck codes in the description below. If you're a mobile user and it's difficult for you to copy those codes off YouTube, there's an easy to enter link to my Discord. You can visit the deck lists only channel, and you'll find as a mobile user it is much easier to copy those deck codes. Best of luck with your pack opening. I wish you all the best of luck on the ladder. If you want to help support this channel, you can click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, leave me a comment, let me know about your success at the beginning of the Sunken City expansion in Wild. And until next time, hope to see you again.